Hey, everybody. Welcome out to another episode of Windshield Time at Mountainland Supply. I'm Joey. I'm here with Brandon, our CEO.
Hey, everyone.
And Spencer Schwartz of Sorts.
Hello.
That's enough out of you, partner. Today we're here with Big Russ Anderson.
Hello.
Russell did not want to be here, by the way.
Why not, man?
A little nervous. I'm used to being behind the camera. This is the first time I've ever been
He's
in
a
front of
silent
the camera.
operator.
Yeah.
Dude,
But-
you are like awesome with the
Thank you.
photography side, man.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm
doing
doing
that a long time.
photography and videography. So
Yeah.
videography is kind of new the last
Dude,
couple
and
of
you
years,
draw. Like, you're an artist of all sorts, man.
So
Dang.
When I first met Russ, you hadn't even started photography at that level that you do it now when we first
kind
met.
of dabbling a little because I was still going to college.
Yeah.
Where I kind of found my photography. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was just drawing. Yeah.
Dude, and he's honestly, Russell's an amazing drawer too, or what would you call
Artist.
that?
Yeah. Artist.
Yeah,
drawer.
but I mean everything's an artist, right?
Yeah,
But like a drawer,
Yeah.
drawer, that
Drawer.
sounds like a bad word.
A little uneducated, but,
But
drawer is
he's
good.
seriously good at
Drawing.
multiple things. Yeah, I mean he's amazing.
I see. I can draw with crayons.
Crayons,
There you go.
Crayons.
freaking like everybody says it different. Like crayons, crayons,
Crayons.
yeah,
Crayons.
crowns.
Crayons.
Some people say crowns,
Hey, stop
Crowns.
making fun of me.
which is
man.
wrong, dude. You
What?
don't say crowns.
Crown. No.
No, I say
Crayons.
crayons. But I thought you were like saying that because I said drawer.
Oh,
now
no,
you're
no,
allowed
no,
to say
I was
crayons.
No. No. And by the way, just so that is a sensitive spot about my speech
What?
because I think I've told you this. Now we're going to tell the whole
Oh, that
world
you
this.
say the wrong words.
Sometimes I like screw up words or I like mispronounce them.
Yeah, but I'm always here for you.
But when I was young, I think this is where it all started is because we moved down to Texas when I was young,
Yeah.
and I got put into speech therapy because
Because you didn't speak like Texans.
I didn't seriously. I distinctly remember going in there and the teacher telling me like, "Okay, say bear." I was like, "Bear." No, bear. Bear.
She was trying to get you to
Bear.
speak like a Texan.
Serious. And so we spent, it was like 2 or 3 years down there in
Dude,
Texas.
she screwed you up.
This is in elementary. We come back to Utah. Guess what? I got put back into speech therapy because now
Because now you're saying bear.
bear. And so then they had to like straighten me back out.
I bet they say drawer down there. Weird
Drawer.
too.
Yep.
So do you say
Dar.
pillow? So this is mine. Do you say pillow or pillow?
Pillow.
I know what you say. It's pillow.
Pillow.
Yeah, I say pillow.
That is one like
Do you say pillow? Is that what you said?
pillow.
Okay,
Pillow.
pillow.
I say pillow.
You say
Is it-
pillow?
Is it
We didn't
feelings
ask
or
you.
feelings?
I'm just feeling hurt here.
Feelings or feelings?
Fillings.
Feel like wait a minute, like
Feelings.
you're feeling
Feelings.
something.
Yeah,
I say
my
feel,
feelings.
but like in your teeth, those are fillings.
Those are feelings, but
Yeah.
people a lot of times say feelings.
So what do you say?
Those are my feelings.
Okay, what do you say?
Feelings.
So you say pillow, but feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, humans are weird. We're weird
What
animals.
is it? Creek,
Strange.
creek?
Creek.
Oh,
or
dude.
Creek, yeah.
I say creek,
Creek.
like Otter Creek.
Yep.
Yeah,
100.
I probably say 100. If I'm really fast, if I know what I'm saying, like slow, I can say
Yeah.
100.
Milk.
Milk.
Yeah. Milk.
You don't say
Milk. He says
You
milk.
say milk.
Milk.
Milk pillow.
Milk pillow.
Yeah.
My
Milk.
grandpa, he was a warsher guy too.
Oh,
Warsher.
Washer.
that's so. Where's your family from?
They're from San Diego originally.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the Utah family? Where are they from?
Utah family, they've kind of been in the Bluffdale area most of their lives,
Bluffdale.
Oh, wow.
Because Eastern Utah, they do the warsher.
Yeah.
Yeah, like go wash your clothes.
Yeah, but this, I mean, he was back from I remember taking him down his fence. We had to hammer out every rusty nail straight. And this
Oh, yeah,
old
man.
School.
Yeah, my grandpa used to make us save nails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was
Dang.
miserable.
we used to tease him all the time, warsher though.
Yeah.
Washer.
Go get me a washer for this bolt.
Washer.
Yeah. So Russ has been here for a long time. Russell and I mean, we nearly started around like the same time, years and years ago. You started in probably 2006 or 7?
I think it was October-ish, 2005.
5. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, just a couple years after I started.
Yeah, yeah.
And Russell came on and you and I worked together in the yard.
Correct.
At the
Yeah.
very first. But you came from Powder River, right?
Yeah,
That's
Powder
where
River.
you worked right before this.
Yep.
And you were a manager down there, right?
Yeah, shipping supervisor down
Shipping,
there.
yeah.
So,
So Russell and I worked in the yard like very first, and it was hot.
yeah,
Like that October,
It
it was
was-
still hot, dude.
it was brutal.
It was brutal.
It was brutal.
And then it was cold.
Yeah,
I mean, we used to have to work in the yard in every element.
yeah.
That was not fun.
You're coming up on 20
We had
years, man.
Our raincoats.
Sorry, keep going.
But yeah, it was.
Rain
it was,
jackets,
rain jackets,
unloading
and-
Tyler fittings and rain jackets.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So
And Russell had a stint where he went to a couple other jobs between, but only for a few years. Like you've been here probably total at least 12, right?
yeah, something like
12,
something
13.
Like that.
Yeah.
So does that count towards the 20 years?
I do. I count.
I mean,
I think
my heart was here.
was always
it never
here.
left.
Yeah.
I count
that
it.
counts.
I count it.
I'm just thinking of,
I think he deserves a plaque.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a bone in there for.
The infamous Darren Rita,
Yeah.
plaque, man. Those are freaking awesome. By the
he's
way.
so good.
Shout out to you,
'Cause-
Darren, man.
Yeah.
Because Jose just got his. We'll ask how they counted it. Because
Yeah.
Jose just barely got his last year, but he's been here longer than I have.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. Like that's a long
you.
time.
Yeah.
That's some dedication right
it's-
there.
Do you know what else Russell used to do? Freaking tattooing.
Yeah.
You did that for a
Kinda
while.
dabbled
Really?
a little bit in tattooing.
He's an
Always
amateur
kind of been
tattoo
doing
twist.
something artsy, creative.
Just like a site.
the body
like
is a
side hustle
canvas.
or something.
Yeah. So I was trying to get an apprenticeship, just tattooing on the side. It's always kind of been a side thing. It's never been a career
Yeah.
thing. Even with the photography and videography, it's something to keep me busy. Well,
Because your mind's just going all the time. Yeah.
Dang.
So,
Dang. I'm married to an artist, so I get it. Like they're always doodling or doing something, and it's just they don't stop.
and our creative juices really come out at night too.
Yeah.
Like night, I'm up all night, got things going. Then,
Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you keep like a sketch pad to the side of the bed just in case?
Not a sketch pad, but I do have my like little idea book. Because if I dream it or I think of it at night, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Then the next morning,
You'll forget it.
I'll forget it. So I've got a whole list of ideas, but I can't get to all those. Like, there's so many.
But editing helps,
But,
right? That's a
yeah.
good outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love the editing. I kind of feel like sometimes I love the editing process of creating the story or putting it together more than the actual process of
The photo and shooting.
the
and
photo
everything.
or the video. I
Yeah.
love when you can just sit down, mash up all those pieces together. You don't know. I jump in. I never make a plan for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I'll just jump in and I shoot it, and then it's like, all right, we're going to sit down, and then that's when the creative starts rolling.
That's your analytical mind too, though, because you're very analytical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Russ, you love spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And you're good at them. But
Not as good as some,
But I think you're
I hope I
like,
impress.
You hold your own.
you're an interesting mix of artistic and analytical.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that disc test or anything like that?
No, I haven't. I've heard of them.
We should do that, dude. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see where you fall on
I've
that.
heard of them. Like my fiance, she was telling me about it too. She's like, we got to try one of those on you, see where you sit.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
So,
Yeah, you'd be all over the board, dude. Or maybe you wouldn't. Who knows? So, Russ, currently you're over all fleet, all facility, like what do you even call
kind of
that?
like a mixed half in kind of facilities. As far as facilities, business licenses, property taxes,
Yeah, well, cameras,
cameras,
all the camera
security
systems.
Door
systems,
access.
access control, stuff like that.
So, not like Perry and his team do the build outs on facilities, but you kind of like monitor all facilities.
Correct. Yeah.
That's probably like the maintenance of the facilities. Yeah.
Upkeep and maintenance.
Yeah. Plus everything to do with fleet.
Yeah.
So you got to freaking get full plate, dude.
It's a handful, but it's great. We've got
So
a great team.
do you like this? Like, would you say this is your like favorite position that you've had here? Because you've done a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit. I love just having a full plate.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really hard to say if this would be my favorite position because I can't say there's really a position I haven't.
Did you ever
like,
do returns?
Yeah, did
Okay,
returns.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I guess if I had to say there was any I didn't like, it was dealing with returns a little bit, but
Well, returns, you got to deal with everybody at their worst.
yeah,
They're never happy about a return.
That part sucked, because you couldn't make anybody happy. But other than that, and even that, I mean, it wasn't all that bad. But
Yeah.
gosh, it just the community makes it great,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you've dabbled in a lot of things though.
yeah, I've done returns.
I mean, you worked on the sales counter.
Yeah,
You did some inside sales.
no, that's the only thing I haven't.
Well,
done.
you did it. You didn't do it here, didn't you? Do it at Core Main?
Oh yeah.
Or
I've
was
done
it
a
Core
little
Main
bit.
when you
Yeah.
worked there?
Yeah.
Or HD?
Yeah, it was Core Main.
Core Main. So you
Little
did
bit
inside
of-
sales there.
Yeah,
Some project management over there.
yep.
And then when you came back here, you came into the facilities management side of it.
Came in with shipping over in Salt Lake with.
Oh,
Caleb.
that's
Oh,
right.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
And then transitioned over into fleet.
Fleet and maintenance. Yeah.
By the
Okay.
way, just from my perspective, that's probably been one of the best moves ever.
Oh,
Well, thank you.
just to put you
Thank
where
you.
you're at. Like,
yeah, man.
It's been a great team over there. So
It's night and day.
yeah,
Night and day.
thank you.
Yeah,
So.
it's there's a little bit of consternation, from executive management when it comes to fleet. It's like,
Yeah.
man, it's one of our bigger assets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have somebody of your
Absolutely.
talent level over that, man, it's like
Well, just
makes
track.
us rest easy.
You have a lot of assets, but then it's also a huge expense as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you start thinking about it, to be able to do what we need to do, we need to have the fleet to be able to get there, to be able to make all the deliveries, things of that nature. And so just, you need to have someone that's organized
Yeah.
and that
Correct.
knows what's going on and can track stuff. And
And can communicate well.
Yes.
amen.
Because those
that is key.
vendors are so important to us.
Yes, that is key.
And that's been something that I've just seen with you. And then we throw on the facility side,
Yeah.
like dealing with the landlords and stuff like that, the business licenses. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Well, and
Yeah.
the DMV, I mean, gosh.
Everywhere's different too.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I mean, honestly, Idaho surprisingly has been the smoothest. Like,
Yeah.
they don't want a license for nothing. And I'm like, why are you skipping out on all that revenue? I don't understand.
I know, it's weird.
Well, you even think about like the actual license plates, like on trailers,
Yeah.
like just a one-time fee.
Yeah.
So if everybody ever wonders why all of our trailers are licensed in Idaho, it's because of that fact. Once we went up into Idaho, we had a physical location. Everything can get licensed there, and you only have to pay once.
Yeah.
Instead of here in Utah, you have to do it annually.
Yeah.
And so it's a cost savings, but it's also more so that it's just easier
Yeah.
to be able
Yeah.
to maintain.
Less maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and you have to track, I mean, everything everywhere. Like, I mean, Nevada has some weird stuff about just being able to do business in Nevada.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, there's weird things like you have to post in a certain newspaper every year, for Nevada.
That's
and-
true.
Isn't there like financial information or something like that?
Yeah, they want to know some financial information and stuff like that. So they've got a few weird quirks like that. Some there's a county license, some there's a city license, and there's always the state license. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you got it all, man.
Yeah.
You're fortunate you don't get into the sales tax.
Yeah.
Sales tax is another beast
Oh
too.
man, I can't even imagine.
Especially over in Denver,
Yeah.
because the business across the street could have a totally different sales tax than you do.
Yeah,
Really?
based on, it's zip codes, opportunity zones. I mean, they split it up like so many different
Special
ways.
service
wow.
districts, like
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
special taxes for this, that,
Yeah.
and another, but it's crazy. So it's not even like here in Utah, it's pretty simple.
Mhm.
But when you get out, like also I heard Phoenix is the same way. And
So
so,
we're about
it's
to figure
just
that
it's
out.
by your address. It's not by county. It's not by town. It's by your address, because just even across the street, it could be totally different.
Wow. Yeah,
I
that's
know. It's so crazy.
No thanks.
So,
insane. Yeah.
but going along with all the different licenses that you have to have and be able to talk to all the different people, jurisdictions, I
Yeah.
guess it's just
yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle sometimes.
It
But,
is.
But we got a great team. So
So let's talk about your team a little bit. So who do you have that works with you?
we've got John out of Salt Lake. You guys all
Stud.
know John. He's like
Dog.
a wizard with
Oh my
anything
gosh, that guy's
mechanical.
awesome.
I mean,
Oh my
that
gosh.
guy. You know what's funny, and I just talked to John about this the other day, is growing up with technology, it comes so natural to me, and he gets really frustrated sometimes. I'm like, man, you know what you're experiencing right now with the computer? I see that same thing when I look at a motor in a car. Like,
Yeah.
you're moving stuff around and flipping. Look at this and doing. I mean, and he's so precise about everything, and he's not worried about getting the job done, get it in, get it out. He's worried about getting it in, getting it out, and make sure it's done correctly so it doesn't come back. That's what's so great about
Taking
John.
care of the customer.
Yeah.
That's why we love him.
He's got a guy from Park City that comes down for an oil service because he
Really?
loves John that much.
And John's been around a long time. A lot of people don't know this, but we purchased a business that, I mean, basically the biggest asset in that business was John.
Yeah.
We purchased the shop, or we'll just say we purchased the shop because it's a really long story. But with that came the book of business that included John.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started doing our trucks through that building and through that shop. But John is like freaking amazing. Like you said, he's a wizard. The guy, and his knowledge of different engines and the way that they work and different components. And he loves, like, this is weird, but he loves electrical.
Yeah.
Like, he loves to chase electrical issues, which is just crazy to me.
Some guys hate that.
I know,
is
and he
absolute
feeds
nightmare.
off it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's an amazing person.
I think he likes a challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably.
I think that's what it is, and just
Absolutely.
knowing that you can do it. Because I was talking to him the other day, and I think he said in his whole career, there's only like 2 times that he hasn't been able to solve something.
I'm sure they just eat at him too.
And he's been in this for how many years? How many decades?
Yeah.
2 times. 2 times. Are you kidding me? Yeah. There's only twice that you couldn't solve something. I mean, this guy, he's just phenomenal. I take my truck up there if I need anything kind of technical or anything like that. I mean, and he does a phenomenal job. I've sent my mom up there. He's taking care of her.
I've sent my wife there, my sister.
He's awesome.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. He's yoked out too.
Yeah. He doesn't think he is, but John's a muscle boy.
He doesn't look like it with his like mechanic shirt on.
I was just gonna say that he wears a baggy shirt.
Freaking dude is yoked.
I know. Yeah. There's been times like I shake his hand. I'm like, holy crap, man.
He's cut up from the butt up, that kid. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Randy and Tyler down in Orem.
Awesome.
Randy's been excellent.
Yeah.
There's another guy too. There's nothing he can't fix.
He's a freaking character, dude.
Yeah. Randy's
I love Randy. He's a fellow Santa Quinian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got Mountainland's best interest at mind all the time, you know. So he's got a lot of ideas and things, and he's wanting to help out here and there. So that's been great.
He's always backing up the company.
Yeah. He's like one of the people that I would consider like a founder. You know what I mean? Like, and he's been around for a long time.
Absolutely.
He's probably been here.
Not a founder necessarily, but just like one of those staple people.
Key components.
Especially within the fleet. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's so nice and so easy to work with.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the fleet goes, he was our first mechanic that we hired.
Guy. Yeah.
So as far as that fleet department goes, when we really started to get serious about fleet, he was the first one that we brought on.
Yeah.
So he's been here a long time.
Yeah. And then we got Tyler. Tyler, great kid.
Yeah.
Super good kid. He makes sure we keep Randy's blood pressure high. So that's always good.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been a great hand. And then we've got Jerry.
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to forklifts, he's like our John and Randy mixed together. That guy. There isn't anything he doesn't know about forklifts.
Hey.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
amazing. So he's been a huge help. And then we brought Tana on as our office assistant, kind of help take some weight off, kind of help with some registration stuff like that. So
which is a huge help to you.
Yeah, she's been great and super. I mean, she's sharp at the tech. You know how when you get new people in, you kind of want to just kind of watch, make sure they're getting the hang of things. And man, I'll sit down and I'll show her how to do one thing, and I'm like, well, I haven't heard from her. I'm going to go check and. No question, she's got it right. Nothing. I'm like, wow, man.
You like that?
This is nice.
That's a breath of fresh air.
This is great.
Yeah.
And it's normal to have questions after you learn something. But man, I've been really, really impressed with her. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
we got some great people.
Yeah. Our team, oh man. I was thinking about it yesterday, thinking about the podcast. I'm like, man, what
stressing out.
I was stressing out, like I had to do this podcast. But I was thinking, man, what a great team. Like I honestly can't think like if we ever had to make a decision like, if somebody can't, we're crippled without any one of those at some aspect. Like they are such huge staples. And
you run very lean too, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you guys, you take on so much, each of you.
Yeah. But I can't say it enough how blessed. Yeah. So
great team.
I hope they know we love them very much. But they're great.
So one thing that people probably don't know, or if they do know, they may not appreciate it, or a mix of the two. When COVID hit, it hit the automotive industry very hard, and we're still feeling the effects of it. These many years later, the reason why we were able to weather that storm so well is because of the health of our fleet. Mm-hmm. Our fleet is managed to a point where we can take a blow like that. We can take a year where we can't buy a vehicle. And we'll be okay. We won't be at our full strength, but we'll be okay because you all have managed that asset for us so well that it can take something like that. And I don't think people really realize or appreciate that. We tell it to the board of directors all the time because they look at the balance sheet and they see that our fleet is a very large expense, but we see it as an asset because of that. It is through that fleet that we're able to service our customers and to make their business better. Yeah. It fulfills one of our core values nearly by itself. And I think that we need to appreciate that a little bit more. I know people see the new trucks and they wonder like, why the heck does Mountainland buy new trucks all the time? Why do you have to? Well, we don't have to do it that way, but we've chosen to do it that way because it's the best decision for our company.
Yeah.
So you guys did an amazing job of that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I think just to tag along with that, new trucks versus old trucks.
Yeah.
People need to know that we did an analysis. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into that.
We do it every year.
Every year, but a few years ago we made that switch because we used to buy used trucks
and run them into the ground.
Yep. And when you start looking at a cost per mile, newer trucks, it's either going to be even or a little bit cheaper to have new trucks because yes, the cost of it's going to be a little bit more, but the maintenance is a lot lower because usually we're keeping trucks that are under warranty. So we just had an incident happen with a truck. What was it? A 450 that the transmission went out.
Oh yeah.
Second time. And how much are those transmissions?
Oh yeah.
20 grand.
Yeah.
20 grand
easily.
for this truck, and
Twice.
It's gone out twice. And how much do we pay for that?
Yeah.
Zero.
Zero because it's under warranty.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, if it was an older truck, guess what? We would be paying for that.
Exactly.
And so there's an offset there. And so we've done this analysis. And, Russ, your team, I know that you guys help us a ton and Enterprise helps us kind of look at that. We have a review every year of making sure, okay, are we within the cost that we want it to be? And we look at stuff. And then we always have curveballs that are thrown at us, right? Like this year, we're talking about some of our smaller trucks, Chevy, the Colorados. Now we're having some issues with that. So we might have to be looking at different things. And what do we do as an executive team? Well, what does Russ say?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is, well, Ben was talking to us and it's like, well, what did Russ say? He's like, well, we're doing an analysis. He's working on it. All right, well, let us know what Russ says, you know? And it's, we want to know the information, but at the end of the day, it's like, we trust Russ.
Yeah.
Like whatever Russ is. And so I know that we're bringing in a few to be able to try them. And Joey's volunteered to drive some, and I would love to drive some to just try them out. Okay. We got a taco truck coming in.
Yeah. Yep. We got some Mavericks and
the Mavericos.
Some Tacomas.
Some Tacomas.
Tacomas.
So it'll be interesting.
Any Rangers?
They've allotted us 5 Rangers.
5 Rangers, so we're going to try those.
So we got a couple Rangers.
That's probably the one I'm most interested in.
Isn't it crazy that they allot you 5?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just the industry is still just not recovered.
Yeah.
And probably self-imposed some of it.
Yeah. We're still seeing a little bit of trickle. So much more from Ford than anybody else. And what's
it's because
crazy
they're so popular.
Yeah, but they're not really giving any much information as to why. Even with Enterprise, like we're not hearing anything.
They're in the dark.
So I when I get guys calling me, hey, what's going on with this truck? Man, I wish I could give you something, but I got nothing.
Yeah.
They just hold that close to the vest.
Yeah.
Because they don't want it out.
Yeah.
Just like when you go and you tell someone, hey, it's going to be here then, and then if it's not there, then
exactly.
What the heck?
They don't want to overpromise.
But you think you'd give your consumers some kind of idea of, even back when it was the chip shortage, they kind of let us know. Now they're just.
They've learned their lesson, man.
Probably because
there
there isn't a problem. They're just controlling the supply.
The other thing about COVID, though, that, Joey, I think you're spot on with, because we had an updated fleet. I remember having that discussion. Like, you guys came in and we were talking about it. And they're like, we're not going to be able to get much. We'll put stuff on order. We'll see if we actually get it. But we can run this for a year or two and we'll be fine.
Without having to update anything.
And there was nothing. But also, if people remember, during COVID, we expanded.
Yep.
And so if we were staying status quo, that would have been perfect. We would have been fine. But we were growing, hiring people, things of that nature. And so we had to get additional trucks to be able to do that.
Yep.
And that's, I'm looking at you, Russ, because I know you did a ton of heavy lifting through that time to be able to make sure that we had trucks in those new locations for the new people, things of that nature. I mean, and we're not just talking like 5 trucks. We're talking like hundreds of trucks, like not hundreds, but a lot of trucks, maybe around 100 trucks that we had to get for all this stuff to be able to expand. And it's because of the relationship that you had with people that you were able to
we've got
the magic, man.
We've got some great relationships out there. So that was huge. And a huge thank you to our drivers for keeping services going and keeping those maintenance costs down. That's huge. That's huge to keeping our fleet going.
Yeah. Well, that all goes into that total cost per mile.
Yeah.
And even the fuel mileage, it gets down to that granular level. So as the drivers are doing what they're supposed to do, driving the right way, they keep that fuel mileage intact.
Absolutely.
Do you happen to know off the top of your head how many vehicles we do have?
We're floating right around 433, I believe, last time I checked.
433. And that's light axle and heavy axle.
Yeah.
Dude.
Do you remember when we first started? It was
dude.
I think we had
I drove number 13.
Yeah.
That was my truck for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, when I I tell some of these guys, I'm like, man, I mean, our fleet wasn't horrible. Man, I had the Moab run. I had no AC.
Yeah.
I had a
You
rearview mirror that
drove old
flapped.
number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd have to kind of tape down and hold it, and it was what it was. But we look at it now and it's like, man, how
We have nice
great
stuff,
is this?
man.
Yeah, this
So
is awesome.
we were
Nice
talking.
stuff.
We were just barely talking about this week or last week in our level 10 with our executive team. I think it was. Or I think Kim Labram was in the room, so it might have been our correlation with HR. But anyways, we were just talking about that there's a ton of trucks.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so funny. I'm going down the road and my kids, they'll be like, Dad, there's a Mountainland truck. And it's like, yep.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes, hey, Dad, there's another Mountainland truck. Yep. I mean, we just see them, but it's such a nice fleet.
Yeah.
And like what you've done to maintain that it's like you take pride in it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, we were talking about how we feel we take pride in it. And I hope that our employees do too. I think they do.
Yeah.
That they, they're proud to see our trucks on the road and they're good looking vehicles. We have a great fleet. And it's like, yeah, that's the company I work for.
Yeah.
That's my company right there.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the fleet. It's such a huge thing. I mean, everybody sees it and you do a phenomenal job taking care
Beautiful.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree on that. I get that with my kids too. Seeing a Mountain, it's such a pride that you take in. Like,
Yeah.
Even when I'm driving down and I see 2 or 3, I'm like, oh, there we are.
Well, and they look
Like,
good. They're not all
they're-
rusty,
yeah,
gates
absolutely.
falling off,
Absolutely.
And you see our competition and they have trucks like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, no.
Well, and they're all different colors. It's all hodgepodge together. It
Yeah.
just looks like crap.
Yeah. The only one that concerns me is when my kid says, hey, Dad, look, there's a truck and the driver's texting. Just kidding. They don't say that. But I do.
No,
It's actually kind of funny because our trucks aren't marked.
Right.
And so you can be driving down the road and
Yeah.
you'll come up with one of our trucks, and every once in a while you see a driver that's texting. You're like,
Or eating a sandwich or something.
yeah, and you're just like, oh man, that's just a liability right there. Please don't do that, because
Yeah.
you
One-
also
one of
help
the
us
things we're
with the
battling.
insurance side too, man.
Yeah.
On that, right? Any claims that come through,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
and that's a crazy
Or
thing too.
lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
He manages all the lawsuits that come through.
Yeah, and all the cameras in the vehicles.
yeah.
Dude, you see some crazy stuff.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? And I hope everyone watching this, I hope all the drivers would listen to this. From day one, kind of like with Geotab, it
Yeah.
was a little bit of kickback
Yep.
of privacy, and
Yep. You
and
track 'em,
I get it, and we try and be as transparent as possible, because who wants a camera thrown up in their office?
Yeah.
And you don't say nothing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ever since we've gotten those cameras, they have saved drivers time and time and time. We've had people just call with just blatant out lie. Like, you review the camera, you're like, that is not the truth. But had we not had that camera, we're
would-
assuming what that guy
Exactly.
told us was correct, and that
We have no
driver would have
better
came back to a
information.
write-up possibly.
Yep.
And so I try and show the drivers this as these incidents. They're few and far between, but as these incidents happen, look, man, this saved you. These are not only here for the company and to
protects
protect the
you.
asset, but it's protect you as the driver. Because anybody gets in an accident and it's always, oh, look,
He
there's
said,
company,
she
big
said.
money.
Yep.
He hit me.
Yeah. My back hurts.
So
Yeah.
I think one of our the process of going through that, I mean, it was a huge capital outlay to be
Yeah.
able to get this. I remember we had this huge discussion about this, and we're like, man, is it worth it? Is it not
Yeah.
worth it?
It's not
Do we
cheap.
need to do it? And things of that nature. And we finally said, hey, we should do this. This is what would be best for our company and also our employees, because we had that discussion of, hey, it's going to do it. And,
Privacy.
I have to also ask before I continue with my story, do you review all the videos? Do you go through? The answer is no. It's only when something comes up.
That's not what he does at night.
Yeah.
It's not
So-
the editing that he does at night.
There's not enough time in the day
Yeah,
to be able
there's
to.
not enough time at all.
But a lot of people think that, like, oh, they're always just watching me. No, it doesn't. Only if something comes up, right?
Yeah.
But I remember after we did kind of our first wave of installs, it was like a month later. It was really soon afterwards. We got that video of where our truck was behind someone and they stopped. So our truck stopped like 100 feet away, and then that car backed up into them.
Yeah, in Park City.
And then the chick got out and she was like holding her neck and like
She was yelling at him.
Yeah,
and
trying
then
to say we rear-ended her.
then the cop came and said, "Hey, he rear-ended me," and holding her neck and everything. And the truck driver's like, "No." And I think you had the movie or the video clip
Yeah.
up to him in like 10 minutes.
Already sent to the officer on
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah,
Before he even
and the
left.
officer took a look at it. And he's like, "No, it was you."
Yeah.
I mean that saved us probably $100,000.
Yeah.
right there,
Easily.
And it's just like, okay, this is the best thing in the world to be able to have this.
And that was probably, at that time, that was probably one of the drivers that kicked back the most.
Yeah.
He hated the camera.
He hated
and he
it.
actually came and said, "Man, thank you, because that saved me from getting a huge
Yeah,
ticket."
he was a very loud voice
Yeah.
against it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they've been great.
Yeah.
They have been game changers.
I think that was a really good decision, a good investment, because again, it's not so that we can micromanage and be big brother. It's really we had that discussion of, hey, this is here to protect our employees.
Yeah.
And that's the stance, and that's the reason why we made. I think that was what pushed me over the edge of saying, yeah, it's worth all that money, is because we're taking care of our employees and we're trying to help them. So
we
that
have
they
their
don't-
back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you're right. Because people are weird, man.
Yeah,
especially nowadays.
Well, especially under pressure, and you got adrenaline going. They're not thinking clearly. They're going to blame everybody but themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah. And in that time when there is an issue like that, it's adrenaline's rushing, so it's nice to have that video footage to go back to and get the correct story. But like I said, it's helped us more than us ever having to get after anybody. But
and it's helped us on the insurance side. I mean, just because we've had last year we had a pretty major wreck.
Yeah.
That happened, and I mean, we were right off with the insurance company. We had the video right up, and I mean, it was blatant that our driver was not in the wrong.
Not in the wrong.
It was someone else.
I mean, it got
could've been
media coverage. It
that could have been real bad for
could have been
us.
super bad.
But it protected our driver right there, and that could have been, we could have fired him because of how if we didn't have the camera. I think it would have gone the other way. I think it would have been on the driver.
When I heard about that accident, I said, "So who was the driver?" And they said the driver's name, and I was like, "Oh, we're good." Because I mean, that guy, he is a total stud, and he's honest. I would say that he's one of our very best drivers.
Yeah,
takes care of his stuff, ultra clean freak. And when I heard that it was him, I'm like, well, surely we can't be in the wrong. And then you watch the video, it's like, oh my gosh, we were not in the wrong, and that protected him as our model driver. Otherwise, it would have been his word against everybody else's, including the dog that died or whatever. So it would have been horrible.
Yeah.
So
it's been great. But I'll share one other story too. I don't know if you guys remember, we had an incident. I don't know if I shared it with you guys, but right here off of Center Street, driver calls. Says,
"Hey, yeah,
your guy just took off my rearview mirror, blah blah blah." So I go and I review the footage, and as I'm reviewing the footage, he says, "Hey man, I don't really want anything done about it. Just wanted to let you know." While I'm reviewing the footage, he's the aggressor and he's pushing into our driver, and you know how that lane merges into one.
yeah,
Our Suzu's already into the lane. He's like, "There's nowhere for me to go up on the grass."
yeah."
So I calmly text the guy back, says, "Well, that's probably a good idea. I just reviewed the footage." I can see you were yelling and being the aggressor, and you pushed into him, and he's just like, "Well, yeah. Now that I think about it, I probably was. I apologize." I was like, "There again."
gosh.
But at least he was nice about it, but there again.
But he started out
footage.
as trying. I mean, he cared enough to call you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Dirt
been great.
bags.
It's been great.
So if you could have one thing to tell somebody who just started at Mountainland about, this company or your experience here or whatever, what would you tell that person?
Oh man.
And you probably do it a lot already, but what would you tell them?
I preach up and down. Culture is community. I know people say it a lot, like, "Hey, welcome to the family." Like, this is family.
Yeah.
Like, bar none. Like my whole we've watched each other's kids grow up here. Yeah. I mean, my kids got stories all the time they're sharing. "Hey, remember when we used to clean Mountainland? Remember that lady that had candy on her desk?" Like, the culture is just, man, there's not even words for it, honestly. Like, none that I can think of off the top of my head, but just culture, 100% culture. And you give it a month and you'll see. I've had, we went on the Peak Performers trip.
Yeah.
And I'm horrible with names. There was a guy from one of the St. George stores down there, but he was saying, "Man, I have never met a company where I don't feel like an employee number."
Yeah.
Like, I've never met a company that I've come to work for where I don't feel like, like I feel like my voice matters here.
Yeah.
And I think that's with everybody. Like, and the fact that we don't all wear one hat and we're like, "Well, it's not my job." So everybody's in to pitch in for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's culture is huge.
It's an awesome spot, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, thanks for all you do.
I know that wasn't as great as
No, dude, that's perfect.
but that's
That's
I
perfect.
can't preach it enough. But
No, that's awesome.
Take it.
Thanks for taking the leap of faith and doing something that made you uncomfortable, bud.
Thanks.
You did a great job. You're natural.
That's my goal for this year. If
Step out.
If it makes me, sometimes you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Oh, I
There you
like
go.
that.
So that's
There
my
you
goal
go.
for this year because I'm like, oh,
That's some good advice.
I was like, yeah,
That's some good advice right there, man.
yeah.
Yeah. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable. You can name this podcast that. Shorts is on it. All right. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Russ.
you so much.
Thanks, everybody out there. And we'll see you down the road.
Thanks, everyone.
Love you, bud.
Bye.